Christopher Nolan's Interstellar is arguably one of the most radical science fiction movies ever brought to film. Indeed, the film bears a formidable apocalypse story that sees our planet ravaged by a dust storm even before NASA pilot Cooper travels via wormhole to find a new home for humanity, leaving the Earth to die in the process. The proliferation of the storm is the most significant factor in the destruction of civilization. It is not the source of humanity's near extinction. Instead, the principal cause of the apocalypse is our species' failure to evolve beyond our planned for origin, best exemplified through their concentration on the declining farming industry instead of the more important goal, escaping the decaying planet with a spectacular cost sporting interstellar and even greater specific effect. The film is truly one of the greatest space movies that ask a simple yet terrifying terrestrial questions. What will humanity do when the earth gives up on us? The main issue with the death storm in Interstellar is their effect on the global food supply, namely that they have continually annihilated humanity's food sources, with God being one of the few reliable crops remaining on the planet. However, the crop highlighted in the film one ascended deadly side effect that truly puts the nail in humanity's coffin. It eats up the nitrogen in the atmosphere, which worsens the dust storm and destroys the Earth's remaining oxygen supply. These crop killers turns things from bad to worse exponentially since over time. The planet's civilization will not only starve, they will suffocate. This proved to make the education department focus on the farming industry and interstellars a futile effort, since they are only defying the inevitable instead of searching for a feasible solution or to humanity's crisis. Save the brave few who ensure copper on the entrance into the cosmos. By the end of the interstellar, the Earth is already its lost cause in the film, and civilization is only hope is above, not below. While some Equaplices movies, like The Day After Tomorrow and Snowpiercer, director blame climate change for the fall of civilization. While some apocalypse movies, like The Day After Tomorrow and Snowpiercer, directly blame climate change for the fall of civilization, Nolan's film intentionally leaves the origin of the crop blight a mystery, which may be surprising to some. Considering the length Nolan went to achieve scientific accuracy in Interstellar, instead, the film only vaguely hints at some sort of the bacteria or fungus being responsible for depleting the Earth's nitrogen. Whether this organism is of human origin or natural is left up to the viewer's interpretation, and this ambiguity makes it blight all the more formidable and the stakes are even higher. Ultimately, it's not important what caused the crop blight, whether it be industrial farming, climate change, or some other mysterious sources. To not labeling the cause of the apocalypse, Nolan's turned the focus away from the crisis and toward humanity response. Ultimately, it's not important what caused the crop blight, whether it be industrial farming, climate change, or some other mysterious sources. What is important is how our civilization survives this approaching threat of extinction. In this light, the film is a testament to our species' endurance in times of crisis, illustrated superbly through Nolan's use of footage from Ken Burns' The Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl was a real-life agriculture disaster in the American Great Plains that saw the storm destroy the formidable. If that sounds familiar to the apocalypses in Interstellar, it's by no accident on Nolan's part. The directors drew heavy inspiration from the PBS documentary The Dust Bowl, created by legendary filmmaker Ken Burns, and even used footage from the series to portray fictionalized survivors of the blight. Clearly, there are many parallels between the apocalypses of Interstellar and the Dust Bowl, including the storm, drought, is the determination of its survivors in ensuring their respective classes. The length both parties took to persist through such odds are incredible on their own. But in the case of Interstellar, they are fruitless without Cooper and a crew of the endurance who postpone and secure a future not for our planet but for its civilization. Christopher Nolan's were known to be tractarians when it came to his movie. Even his smaller movies like Memento have grand structures, bold treating them simple plots. However, Interstellar is easily its first brush with the epic useless. You consider the full Dark Knight trilogy as one on paper. It should not work as sweeping narrative or covering different terms and words would be. Even his smaller movies like Memento have grand structure, both sitting to a simple plot. However, Interstellar is easily its first brush with the epic used unless you consider the full Dark Knight trilogy as one. On paper, it should not work as sweeping narrative. However, Interstellar is easily its first brush with the epic unless you consider the full Dark Knight trilogy as one. On paper, it should not work as sweeping narrative conveying different terms and words. A sweeping narrative covering different terms and words would be eaten up by audiences. That's why Gravity found so much success financially and the Oscar. But Nolan does something completely different with Interstellar. He introduces chance in a way that is not watered down or ignored. His cinematography theory is completely plausible. Thought that fact make the movie a hard one to digest for viewer. The end result in an incredible study for human nature and our desire to survive. Food is running out. The world is becoming overpopulated. The Yaknas look nothing more than a high school baseball term. Our crop pride is threatening the very existence of the human race. No land drops in this terrifying realistic future plugged with the dust storm and the risk of the world simply ending within the grasp. With this, the nation turns its attention to farmer and away from the science and engineer to save the world. However, Josh Cooper, who was once a pilot for NASA, maintains his faith in Sam after the storm. A mysterious gravitational disturbance leads him back to the formerly disbanded agency. He discovered that NASA, led by Dr. Brand Nolan, regular Michael, and his daughter, Dr. Emily Brand, have discovered a wormhole. One system with three potential worlds. As Amelia puts, is something or someone has given the human race a chance to live by presenting them with potential new planets to call home. Cooper is given the seemingly possible decision to leave his children forever, potentially, or save the humanity from extinction. Choosing the latter, he embarked into an incredible mission on the ship Endurance. He, along with the Amelia, Dr. Joel, and Dr. Romilly, set out to access the three worlds to choose where to start a new civilization. Back on Earth, Morphe Cooper, who grows up while her father is gone, began to help Dr. Brand determine the formula to get humans off of Earth in a mass exodus. While wormholes and other worlds seem like the work of science fiction, the science is very real. Throughout the movie, it sometimes gets a little confusing. With a little thinking, you can piece it together. Essentially, it's the nail deGrasse Tyson of movie. The science is explained in a non-convincing way. One of the most surprising elements of Interstellar is not the story of the science, but the sentimentality is shockingly emotional and often heartbreaking. In fact, parts of got me. Whether it's surprising because of the director or the premise is anybody's guess. However, the grasp it has on humanity is both refreshing and welcome, especially in the science fiction genre. A human factor is usually missing, but Nolan and his screenplay exhibit human nature for all its beauty and destruction. We have an innate desire to survive. That's why the ape people on Earth in Interstellar began to lose weight and dream to leave the planet. They are thinking of new how they can solve the problem on Earth. Their idea of the novel movie is thinking of a way to save our race. However, the movie explores the selfish motivation we also innately have. The way it's explored is surprising and devastating. But it's not just the screenplay. and direction that exudes that the ensembles was tasked with accessing emotion and that human would actually feel in this situation. Overall, the entire cast is phenomenal. However, there are three stand-out for me. The first is Matthew. I think it's very unfortunate that he won his Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. Not to take away from the performance, his performance in Interstellar is an incredible meditation on one of the hardest questions for human. How much will you sacrifice for the greater this than when he's watching message from his kids as the years go by. This is the best performance of his career. The other two performances that stood out were the two set actresses that portrayed Mark McNair's for breaks irony sigma surrounding child actor with a really naturalistic art, heartbreaking performance. She has these knowing gazes that foreshadow the scientific curiosity that follows her throughout her life. Anyone bemoaning the death of the original script in a movie marketplace dominated in by adaptations, remake, and sequels showed in Chori by Thrill by Christopher Nolan's Interstellar, a sprawling mysterious science fiction epic that's nothing if not original. Interstellar does engage in a share of homage and borrowing from film history. We open on a car chase through a cornfield that's a drone era update of the climatic change in North by Northwest. The plot about a group of astronauts sent into the space to investigate a mysterious anomaly. Explicitly recall that 2001 A Space Odyssey. The use of special effects to communicate radical perispectral shift comes courtesy of the Matrix, but for better or worse, Interstellar subtly remained its own wagged out, inimitable self, a century spanning family, soap opera, and a serious philosophical thesis on both human and morality and the concept of time, and possibly, if unsatisfying, also a dystopian environmental parable of some kind or other. There might be a few more genres that would comfortably fit into the room. 169-minute running time of Interstellar, a movie I snickered at more than once but never stopped staring at in wonder. This is not a Nolan's first film by any stretch, but it abounds in the qualities that are among his strengths, evoking a sense of visual awe, crafting ballistically sleek, large-scale action sequences. Remember the semi in the Dark Knight, and casting the actor, especially male ones, who deliver fierce and memorable performances, even in roles that are less than fully fleshed out. Unfortunately, Interstellar also showcases some of Nolan's biggest weakness, dialogue, Nolan and his brother, and frequent writing partner Jonathan, that lays out the film's big idea and themes with his acidity of a new employees at a whiteboard. Female characters who spend most of their screen time, however much they are given, as either helpmate or victim, and a tendency toward intellectual and auditory bombast. Here is a Michael Klein building quite a bit of Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle into the good night as spacecraft launches definingly into the starfare, Hans Zimmer booming. I actually watched the entirety of Interstellar's waiting for earplugs brought along for that purpose, because Chris Nolan movies, like that metal concert, are best attended wearing some sonic safety gear, especially if the film is being screened in IMAX, as Interstellar will be in some theater when it opens November 7. The earplugs came in the laundry right away in that gorgeously shot opening cornfield sequences, in which equally gorgeous single Dad Cooper and his children Tom and Worf chase a descending drone until it crashes in a field, then tossed into the back of their truck to take it part of the salvage. The exact texture of the fantastic dystopia Cooper and his kids In habit takes a while to establish itself and in fact never fully emerge into relief. We are given no explanatory descents or backstory, furnishing Viceroy and reward Cooper. His children and his gentle father, John, live in looks externally faring similar to our own. There are cars and computers, functioning school and governments, even organized games of what appear to be minor league baseball. But gradually we learned that some time ago that Arnold soil stopped. Sporting any crop field is about to die out. The storms kicked up by the erosion of topsoil due to worldwide blight politically ravaged the land. The human population is on a mathematically charitable course toward extinction. As another character grimly observed to Copper at one point, their children generation is likely to be the last to survive. Cooper, who was once a crack spaceship pilot, gets recruited or, depending how you look at it, into a top secret exploratory mission organized by what remains of NASA, an institution that had to go underground in an era in which, for some reasons, official ideology insists that the moon landing was faked. Better not let Buzz Aldrin hear you say that. Dystopian future. After an accumulation of seemingly supernatural coincidents that would be too spoilery to reveal even if I could understand them, Copper agrees to take the job. It will mean leaving his children behind on a rapidly falling planet. He is assured by NASA or Chief Doctor Brian Michael that somewhere near Saturn, scientists have located inner disturbance in space-time. It may be the human race's only hope of keeping to a wormhole and locating a habitable planet in the otherwise impossibly distant galaxy. Get used to hearing about that what wormhole because they become the circus of Interstellar, the intraffic club around which the film's various plot lines with his interesting circle. After agonizingly tearing himself away from his family, Copper sets out of Saturn, aware that because the effect of relatively on the passage of time, he may not find his way back through the wormhole to Earth before his children, lifespan are being loved. If he survives his trip at all, charm is assurance like oxygen or food. He explained to his crew, pressing on them the importance of quickly gathering data on the three possible planets they are investigating as replacement Earth. Meanwhile, back on the regular Earth, Tom and Morph grow into adult played by Casey Affleck and Jessica Chastain for any years their siblings maintain the hope that their father will return, but eventually Tom's video message, which take years to be relayed remotely to Copper in deep space, and to which he can respond trickle to a despairing heart. As for Morph, she can't forgive her dad for abandoning his own children, even if to serve the human race. Cooper's fellow crew on the Endurance consists of planetary scientist Amelia Brandt, Anne, Romy Lee David, and pilot Joel. There are also a pair of affordable there is also a pair of affablement shaped reports. Case and Tars board hydraulic puppet operated by the actor and clown Billy Lemon. What happens on the ship is far less dramatically interesting than it ought to be, given the mind-blending experience Hathaway is for human and two machine go through together. At one point, a pair of explorers return from what seems like an afternoon worth of adventure to find their crewmates unfortunately transformed. Still, the movie's middle third is visually and technically breathtaking, and two back-to-back planetary exploration sequences of staggering beauty and skill. One world has water, overwhelming amount of it, periodically rising up in tidal waves the size of mountain. Another is our aged, frigidly cold rock faces with one surprising sign of life. MC makes for a rakish exceptional hero, waking his duty to humanity against his devotion to his kind, yet while taking time to assure his crewmate in the Robert Mitchum troll of his dad, He has a plotting job story swimming around at a neutron star and dilation. The rest of the cast, including the vastly overqualified Chastain in one note role as a resentful wronged daughter, swings around a neutron star that is MC. Himself, no one gives a bad performance, but he cast never goes less into an ensemble Hathaway. Character in particular seems indistinctly imagined with hints of painful past love story that's never fully explored. The portrait last act of the Interstellar, which contains at least three discrete moments that could easily have been ending but are not, ties the outer space plot up witty. Meanwhile, back at the range, one via development that's at once metaphysical and sort of seemingly scientific. The theoretical physics captain Toron was a consultant. How you feel about the movie? Man, hang on your reaction to his scene about his wish. I say only that, like the end of 2001. A space odyssey, it takes place in a space that seems to exist in a between the familiar wood we know and some strange alternate dimension. Going back over and over this crucial moment with fellow critic on the train home, I could make no sense of it where was the encounter meant to be taking place, what laws of the universe or if human relationships stated purport to be disclosed. But the scene of visual and spatial wonder, this scene evoked in me lingered long after, accompanied by their bargaining respect for the Nolans' sheer commitment to their own specular brand of visionary hokum. If you will allow me for a moment, I want to take you back to 2014, the year of Alan Oscar Selfie, The Ice Bucket Challenge, and yes, Christopher Nolan's sci-fi epic in such a. As I sat down in the reception of Nolan's latest, I wondered what was about to unfold before me. I had mostly steered clear of the marketing with only its initial trailer, which reigns in the focus to show a waste art and a natural phenomenon closing in on MC Cooper as my guide. Almost 3 hours later, I left the cinema feeling good, bemused, and ultimately disappointed despite its scope and outstanding image visual. I thought Interstellar was too long, overly sentimental, and falling on from its too busty dark night. Rises to Year's Prayer left me wondering if Nolan and lost his magic touch. At 20, I barely gave Interstellar a second thought, rediscovering it afresh 10 years later at 30. Thanks in part so being more actually aware of the passage of time. I see it now for what is really Christopher Nolan's best, most emotionally affecting work, revolving around a dying Earth and the effort to save its people. Former NASA pilot Cooper sets off for the stars in Interstellar alongside Dr. Amelia Brandt in search of more hospitable planet, but most must leave his young daughter more behind. Most Nolan films have big idea, big emotion, and big set pieces, but almost never all three. Inception comes close. Its mind-blending premise, spinning top ending, and treatment of Marian, Ma leaves the dream, his thriller feeling slightly less satisfying than desired. Interstellar created Trump is that achieve all of this. Fast immersion for all of the criticism. Lived against Nolan one sticks out. His movies can like hurt and be slightly unfeeling by their nature. That's simply not true of Interstellar, which immediately anchor the movie as a sweet family piece, including a young Timothy Calmore peeping up a new lines as Cobb's own Tom. Interstellar came from a very personal place. Nolan says in Tom Sean essential book, The Nolan Variation, there is a reason. After all, why the working title for Interstellar is Flora's letter, a reference to his 10-year-old daughter. From that starting point, Interstellar transcends galaxies and takes in all manner of unknowable and hostile environment, but at its very core, remains steadfast in its emotional message. Copper is fighting to save what's awaiting for him back home on his ranch. That's why Interstellar big set pieces hit so hard. In past and future Nolan's movie, the director would do everything from crashing Ariel being 747, to flipping rooms literally upside down for his bombastic sequences. Here, the big moment lands with a similar, but it's a gut punch rather than an explosion. In one of 21st century cinema finest scene, which you can watch here in full. MC Cobb returned from a planticide vision, having lost year of his life due to the term dilation. Is there where he is met by videos of an adult played by Jessica growing up over a decade, encompassing with thanks in part to Nolan's personal touch, bringing out a very last drop of feeling. MC delivers an etchingly beautiful and devastating response to those missing gear. Salience, Morpheus, and performance rightly received, but it's gonna have a moment like this. Cope is not just giving that they has not been lost. He is giving the uniquely complex feeling as he realizes he wasn't able to grow old alongside Morph. The emotion had not set pieces are set strong enough to catapult. This is the top of any Nolan fans ranking, but it's the director's playful experimentation with space and time that really seals the deal. Case in point, Interstellar's ending featured an all-timer of a twist, one that only enriches subsequent viewing as Scope ends his mission by traveling into a 2001 SQ wormhole. It's revealed that the ghost's first scene earlier in the movie that kickstarted his voyage are revealed to be Cobb communicating to himself via a four-dimensional plan. The magic of Interstellar, much like is vulnerable in his day. It's about the vast impetuous and loneliness of space time at the same time. It's an intimate story about a father and daughter. Nolan treads an impossible needle, achieving what, large in part thanks to wielding together his past experiences on big Hollywood blockbuster and all the scale that comes with it, and by quitting his naysayer by presenting audiences with rare thing, $165 story about Nolan's own guilt in leaving his daughter behind to go to work. So yes, hands up, I was wrong. Interstellar is Christopher Nolan's final step to that in body of work that encompasses the best superhero movie ever made, a Best Picture winner, and a daring Hollywood debut in Memento that takes some doing. But Nolan's aimed for the stars and succeeded in his mission. It just took me a decade to realize that. She happily paid his price for the rare comedy. I mean, she hit for a film that came out a decade ago in secondary markets online. Tickets to Christopher Nolan's 2014 space epic had been listed for weeks for as much as 2015. After all, 166 IMAX again sold out for the duration of the releases last weekend. Interstellar pulled in $4.57 million domestically, more than any no movie at all, $27,500 million higher per second, average than top grosses Mona 2 and Wicked. Demand is so high, in fact, that IMAX is expanding the theater count for next weekend. The accomplishment is the latest example of low legacy film has swung back in fashion at the cinema. As studio look to the leveraged lead liability title and exhibitor face a post-pandemic, post-strike Hollywood with fewer tentpole movies per year, separate from small repertory runs in the boutique theater, often compromising just one or two showing. At least 27 legacy films were released in 2014-24 into more than 100 domestic theater. In many cases, more than 100 grossing more than 90 million total. Chief among them, like a 2009 stop-motion animated film, Coraline, which grossed a stunning $36.6 million domestically when it was put back into the theater in August to Phantom event, a joint venture of AMC, Regal and Cinemark. Phantom has specialized in targeted report releases since 2005. AMC, Regal and Cinemark Phantom is top grosser over. Caps a winning streak for the company, which took in $74 million from its 2024 legacy releases in total and increases of 311 from 2012 to 2. She happily paid his price for the rare commodity, a mentioned seat for a film that came out a decade ago. In secondary market online, tickets to Christopher Nolan's 2014 space epic had been listed for weeks for as much as after 26 seconds sold out for the duration for the rare release last weekend. Interstellar pulled in $4.77 million domestically. And even bemoaning that original script in a movie marketplace dominated by adaptations. Remake and sequels sound showed in theory, but thrilled by Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. Sprawling metaphysical science fiction, epic that's nothing if not original. Interstellar does engage in share of image and borrowing from film history. We open on a car chase through a cornfield that's drawn era updated cinematic stays in North by Northwest. The plot about a group of astronauts sent into space to investigate a mysterious anomaly. Equity recalled at 2001, a space the use of special effect to communicate radical perspectual shift comes courtesy of Matrix. But for better or worse, Interstellar Storm Burning remains own worked out. Inevitable self a century spanning family soap opera that's simultaneously cowboy space opera. Oh, and a seriously philosophical theoristics on both human morality and the concept of time, and possibly of unsatisfying, also a dystopian environmental parable of some kind or other. There might be a few more channels that would comfortably fit into the roomy 169 minutes running time of Interstellar, a movie I snickered at more than once but ever stopped staring at in wonder. This is not Nolan's best film by any stretch, but it abounds inequalities that are among his trend, evoking a sense of visual awe. Crafting ballistically sleek, large-scale action sequences. Remember the summer-setting scene in The Dark Knight. The casting actor, especially male ones, who deliver fierce and memorable performance even in roles that are less than fully fleshed out. Unfortunately, Interstellar also showcases some of Nolan's persistent weakness, dialogue written by Nolan and his brother, and frequent writing partner Jonathan that lays out the film's big ideas and themes with the acidity of a new employee at a whiteboard. Female characters who spend most of their screen time, however much they are given, as either homemade or victim, and a tendency toward intellectual and auditory bombast. Here's a Michael's Kenny blowing quite a bite of Dylan. Thomas do not go to gentle into that good night as a spacecraft launches, definitively into the straight hands, Zimmer booming music jacking for a place mix. I actually watched the entirety of Interstellar's wearing from earplugs brought along for that purpose. Because Chris Nolan movie like that metal concert are best attended wearing some sonic safety gear, especially if the film is being screened in IMAX as Interstellar will be in some theater when it opened number 7. The earplugs came in handy right away in that gorgeously short opening conform field sequences in which equally gorgeous single dad Cooper and his children, Tom and Morph, chase a descending drone until it crashes in the field, then toss it into the back of their truck to take it apart from salvage. The exact nature of the physics is dystopia. Cooper and his kids inhabit takes a while to establish itself, and in fact never fully emerges to its relief. We are given no explanatory date, stamp, or backstory, furnishing voiceover and evolved Cooper. His children and his gentle father, John, live in looks extremely fairy, similar to our own. There are cars and computer, functioning schools and government, even organized games of what appear to be minor league baseball. But gradually we learned that some time ago, the earth's soil stopped sporting any crop but corn and okra, and the last extinct okra field is about to die out. Thus, storm, kicked up by the erosion of topsoil due to the worldwide blight, practically ravaged the land. The human population is on a mathematically chargeable course toward extinction, as another character grimly observed to Cooper at one point. Their children's generation is likely to be the last to survive. Copper, who was once a crack spaceship pilot, gets recruited for, depending on how you look at it, pursued into a top secret exploratory mission organized by what remains of NASA, an institution that's had to go underground in an era in which, for some reason, official ideology insists that the moon landing was faked. Better not let Buzz Aldrin hear you say that. Dystopian future, after an accumulation of seemingly supernatural coincidences. That would be too spoilery to reveal even if I could understand them. Cooper agrees to take the job. It will mean leaving his children behind on a rapidly failing planet. He is assured by NASA Chief Dr. Brand that somewhere near Saturn, scientists have located a disturbance in space-time. It may be the human race only hope of escaping through a wormhole and locating a habitable planet in an otherwise impossibly distant galaxy. Get used to hearing about that wormhole because it became the Piccadilly Circus of Interstellar, the intergalactic traffic hub around which the film's various plotless whip is interesting circle. After all, organizingly tearing himself away from his family, Cooper sets out for Saturn, aware that because this effect of relatively on the passage of time, he may not find his way back through the wormhole to Earth before his children's lifespans are long over. If he survives the trip at all, time is a resources like oxygen or food. He explained to his crew, pressing on them, the importance of quickly gathering data on the three possible planets they are investigating as replacement Earth. Meanwhile, back on the regular Earth, Tom and Bob grow into the adult played by Casey Affleck and Jessica. For many years, the siblings maintain the hope that their father will return, but eventually, Tom's video message will take a year to be relayed remotely to Copper in deep space, and to which can't spot ticket to the despairing heart. As for she can't forgive her dad for abandoning his own children, even if to save the human race. Interstellar is an outstanding sci-fi adventure film set in a future world where all food supply is depleting. Then the storm gets across the Earth's surface, killing the precious crops that stand in our way. With very drying food resources, man faces his coming extinction. Earth is no longer a viable option for us. We need to find a new world, a new home. And that is what Interstellar is all about. Man's journey to find a planet that can support life and allow to us to start over. The plot is extremely engaging because it revolves around an all too real premises. Human extinction. Not one second of the movie was dull or treason, which speaks volumes for a movie with a runtime for nearly 3 hours. Recently, the science in the movie has come under criticism. Many scholars in the science community questions the possibility of some of the events. The criticism comes with a blow to the plot. Given that the film's climax relies heavily on the science within the movie, while some part of the film to seem importable, it can't make the movie down for this. After all, this is a science fiction. As expected, Christopher Nolan's directing is fantastic. Every scene is expertly crafted to move the plot forward. The Wardy Nolan's build brothers Jonathan co-wrote the script is unlike any I have ever seen. It's grippingly real. In a matter of just a few minutes, we are taken in by the decaying future and the future of our hero. Travel from their home, the more immersed we became in the film's well-constructed plot. Cinematographer Hoyt Van Houtema blends well with the Nolan's directing. Scenes are incredibly well lit, leaving no confusion as to what you are looking at, which is what you should expect from a big budget movie. There is a real highlight of the cinematography are the camera angle. The camera is perfectly aligned to provide the whole picture of any given scene. One scene, the camera is close to the actor during an emotional moment. It should come as no surprise that Interstellar is incredibly Matthew MC's lazy film as an NASA pilot turned former. Delivers a powerful performance in the midst of his theatrical resurgence known as the MC. This role is perfect for him and it's his greatest performance to date. MCs with the male powerhouse, performances by award-winning actresses Annie Hathaway, Johan Michael. Not a single moment was poorly performed by any of the cast members. Annie was lovable in her role as Brand, while John played Copper's father in La Vida Call It How I See It attitude. Hans Zimmer's work in Interstellar is nothing short of amazing. Each song richly enhanced the tone of the scene, making it incredible suspenseful. Scene all the better. Much of the movie's score adds to the mystery of the film and heightens the film's level of immersion. This score will surely be an award winner. Interstellar has a big focus on human connection throughout the movie. Copper's primary motivation in his family. Everything he does or thinks about doing is for them. The film does a wonderful job showing the importance of relationship. This focus really pushed this movie above and beyond for me. The movie also mentioned the story of lasers. The space explorations are called the lasers mission since man is trying to come back from the dead, referencing their comic extinction. This was a great reference that made him crack a smile in the dark theater. The biggest issue I had with the movie was the sound quality. Most scenes were fine, but in a few scenes, it was hard to hear what the character were saying at pivotal point. Christopher Nolan has since spoken about this issue, explaining that it was an artistic choice. Nolan purposefully did not allow the artists to hear certain parts in order to convey emotional tone. To me, it was not successful, but it wasn't a huge issue either. This makes epic contain a few scenes of cursing and soul language. It's a fairly tame when compared to most movies released today, but it is there nonetheless. This movie, being a science-heavy film, deals with the theory of the evolution. In certain parts, there are statements saying that we need to evolve. Just a note of caution to any viewer that want to see this movie. I found Interstellar to be an exceptional space, epic and one of my favorite space-themed films. If you can get past the nearly 3-hour runtime, you will surely be hooked by this judgment film. I like the film quite a bit. It's the closest thing our generation has gotten to another 2001, A Space Odyssey, where Kubrick has the mission threatened by a manufacturing computer. Nolan shows how much human motivation can be our undoing or our salvation. I have loved almost all of the Christopher Nolan's film, while also letting this film below The Dark Knight, Inception and Memento in the gallery of Nolan's film. It's visually spectacular, made with love of hard science fiction even if some popular scientists are picking in on it now, and has enough human drama at its heart to satisfy most audiences. I would say it's Nolan's fourth best film, ahead of the Insomnia, Batman Reagan, The Dark Knight Rises, and even the Prestige Nolan film tend to have more head than heart, and I can't say this one is fully an exception, but it's a movie in the right direction, and I can't wait to see what he gives us next. Cool review. So, do you think humankind is going to one day take to the star? And what do you two think about the film's message about the natural scientific explanation for love, especially when it comes to Hartwell's dramatic speech and things that might be supernatural? It seemed to me very cold at times. Hi, Sally Green. Thanks for the comment. I have, as we sat on in anticipation of Nolan's latest, I wondered what was about to unfold before me. I had mostly steered clear of marketing with only its initial career, which ranged in the focus to show a ravaged art and a natural phenomenon closing in on Matthew's MC Cooper as my guide. Almost 3 hours later, I left the cinema feeling cold, bemused, and ultimately disappointed. Despite its scope and outstanding IMAX visual, I thought Interstellar was too long, overly sentimental, and following on from the future buzz that Dark Knight Rises to Air Prayer left me wondering if Nolan had lost his magic touch. At 30, I barely gave Interstellar a second thought, rediscovering it afresh 10 years later at 30. Thanks in the part to being more actually aware of the passage of time. I can see it now for what it truly is. Christopher Nolan's best, most emotionally affecting work, revolving around a dying Earth and the effort to save people. Former NASA pilot Cooper sets off for the stars in Interstellar, alongside Dr. Amelia Brand, in search of more hospitable planet, but most have his young daughter morphed behind. Most Nolan films have big idea, big emotions and big set pieces, but almost never all three. Inception comes close to its mind-bending premise, spinning top ending, and treatment of Marian's Cartwright while leaving the dream's highest thriller feeling slightly less satisfying than Desire. Interstellar's greatest triumph is that it achieved all of this. First, the emotions for all the criticism leave out against Nolan. I want to stick out. His movies can lack heart to be slightly unfeeling by their nature. That's simply not true of Interstellar, which immediately anchored the movie as a sweet family piece, including a young popping up of a new lens as Cop Tom. Interstellar came from a very personal place. Nolan plays in a Tom Ford's essential book, The Nolan's Variation. There's a reason, after all, why the working title for Interstellar is Flora's Letter, a reference to his 10-year-old daughter. From that starting point, Interstellar transcends galaxies and takes in all manner unworkable and hostile environment, but at its very core, remains steadfast in its emotional message. Copper is fighting to save what's waiting for him back home in his ranch. That's why Interstellar big surfaces hit so hard. In past and future Nolan's movies, the director would do everything from catching Ariel being 747 to flipping rooms literally upside down for his bombastic sequences. Here, the big moment lands with a similar, but it's a gut punch rather than an explosion. In one of 21st century cinema's famous scene, which you can watch here in full. MC Coop returned from a planned side mission having lost year of his film due to time dilation. It's there where he is met by video of an adult played by Jessica growing up over a decade. Encompassing that singularly intense loss is hard enough, but thanks in part to Nolan's personal touch, bringing out every last drop of feeling. And it delivers an etchingly beautiful and devastating response to those missing years. Serious Morpheus lead open mirror performances rightly receives plaudits, but it does not have a moment like this. Cobb is not just grieving that has been lost, he is grieving the uniquely complex feeling as he realizes he was not able to grow old alongside Morph. The emotion had not set. Pace is also strong enough to cap it. This is the top of many Nolan fans' ranking, but is the director's playful experimentation with pace and charm that really seals the deal. Case in point, Interstellar's ending feature an all-timer of twist, one that only enriches subsequent viewing as Cobb ends its mission by traveling in 2001 SQ wormhole. It's revealed that the Gauss is first seen earlier in the movie that kickstarted his voyage are revealed to go communicating to himself via a four-dimensional plane. The magic of Interstellar, much like its the final rock pull, is a paradoxical nature. It's about the waste, emptiness, and loneliness of space and at the same time. It's an intimate story about a father and daughter. Nolan thread an impossible needle achieving both, large in part thanks to the welding together his past experiences on big Hollywood blockbusters and all the scale that comes with it, and by quitting his naysayer by presenting audiences with that rare thing, $165 million story about Nolan's own guilt in leaving his daughter behind to go to work. So, yes, hands up, I was wrong. Interstellar is Christopher Nolan's final film to date, in a body of work that encompasses the best superhero movie ever made, a Best Picture winner, and a daring Hollywood debut in Memento that takes some doing, but Nolan's aimed for the stars and succeeded in his mission. It just took me a decade to realize that I am the senior experiment writer here at Gamers Reader, plus focusing on news, feature, and interviews with some of the biggest names in film and TV. On site, you will find me marveling at Marvel and providing analysis and room temperature takes on the newest film. Star Wars, and of course anime. Outside of GR, I love getting lost in a good 100-hour JRPG Warzone and kicking back on the virtual field with Football Manager. My work has also been featured in OPM, Fort 2, and Game Evolution. I enjoyed this movie subsequently. The film's emotional and philosophic scientist roles beneath the excellent action and CGI space effect resulted in an excellent theatrical experiences. First, I walked into the movie trying not really watch the trailer, nor read any informational pieces about Interstellar. I know it was good, and it had something to do with space, but that's about it. With that, I remember speculating with a friend about what was happening, especially in the beginning. The plot seems not sure, but like it's unraveling with Xavier. The story knows not to dump information, and it does a good job for building the foundation of the world slowly, but while maintaining interest. It is my favorite thing, establish an emotional bond to a character that will be revisited throughout the film. Cooper and his daughter Morphe live in a world being consumed by dust. That is almost uninhabitable, and this is perhaps the end. Obviously, we know it's not. Copper's wife seemed to have died, and he left with his two children and his wife's father. MC was phenomenal as Copper. He was restless, angry with it what, but quite capable. His character was always wearing with ambition and who is needed to be versus the family he could never leave. There is one part later on where it hurt me to see his face as a grief as palpable. I can't speak of one acting performances that I did not like, and in saying that, let me clarify. This film's strength was not its acting. The acting was not a weakness in its slightest, but the true strength was the storytelling, the amazing script, and the production value. The production was cinematic and beautiful. It had all the beautiful and quite scary space shots that you could ever want. The music built an exotic tension subtly. But I think one of my favorite elements was the use of silence. How often did you have a scene with complete silence for a few moments? Interstellar used silence into advantage several times. Although I may have denied it once by cursing. Anything Christopher Nolan's grasp of tension and his vision for the film seen true. The story was complete with many peaks and valleys, some of them rather unexpected. And I said earlier that I teared up several times because what happened was too horrible not to. The weakest part to Interstellar was the ending, which is a mindfuck because what's happening is unclear. Actually, that is flaw or recurring dream because it's not necessarily a flaw, it was introduced and obviously intention. Interstellar prided itself in a being big story that did deal with abstract and philosophical ideas. There was a sense of purpose and destiny well employed throughout the entire story. And it was it like what happened was literally written in the star. If you don't like those types of storyline, you may not like Interstellar, but I love them. After finishing Interstellar, all I want to do is queue up with a laptop and listen to some Carol Sagan and then perhaps research space a little more. I highly recommend Interstellar and the best movie I have seen in a long time. Interstellar is a Christopher Nolan movie exploring the vast galaxy through time and space paradox. The movie primarily focuses on life. Earth is coming to an end, and a few are traveling to find another home at the end of the galaxy. Hans Zimmer has created an excellent background score to cover up the visual effect through the eyes of the camera. The movie has an excellent cast, which includes the MC Annie Hathaway and Michael Sane. Well, the movie starts with a family where Anas lives with his children and his father-in-law in this beginning. It will be noticeable that the corn is getting destroyed. The younger daughter is always afraid of ghosts living in the house where the ghost always message morph with some symbol. It is likely that there will be a dust storm someday when the ghost will try to communicate with Morph and her family again. Being a NASA astronaut, Copper will understand the message and he can predict what the ghost is trying to say. Analyzing the pattern of the symbol reveals that it is the location of an unknown place which has later known to the NASA. At NASA, the scientist, Dr. Brand, comes to tell us that the world's going to end and they are looking for some astronaut who will help them to find another world somewhere in the galaxy or another galaxy for the sustainability of the future. Dr. Brand has a team of scientists and a robot, but they require a pilot with actual practical experience for the future of Morph and Timothy. Copper will accept his mission and he will go to find another world or another home for the future generation. This is the beginning of the movie Interstellar. As you watch the movie, there is many aspects like the space-time paradox or parallel word to this theory of the relativity. For instance, they will find a planet similar to Earth while traveling on the planet for his inspiration. When Cooper returned to the spaceship, they will notice that a half hour on the planet is 25 years of Earth, equivalent to most of the lifespan of children. At the end of the movie, when Cooper and Amelia find out that everything was planned by Dr. Brand and he was trying to save a couple of scientists and astronauts, including his daughter, hearing this, Cooper wanted to return home to connect with his daughter and son, which was lately already too late for the timeline. While going through the wormhole, Cooper entered portal and got connected to the bookshelf in Morph's room, where she used to live. So he tried to connect with Morph through the dust later in the movie. Morph, in his older age, realizes that the ghost was one known dead adult's father. Interestingly, Nolan has studied with the other scientists the design of the black hole. It is not randomly designed. After analyzing this with the other scientists, they created this graphical black hole, which is somewhat similar to a real black hole when studied in the future. Nolan has used some panoramic camera shots for massive coverage of space, which justifies and suits the character of the movie. It's a movie that blends science and drama with good visual effect, a background score, and an excellent cast. Also, very dramatic scene Zimmer made was so good to watch that it sometimes felt like a classic Nolan movie with an excellent background score. The audiences was already reminded that they were getting a vibe of movies like Batman. The Passage EDC, the movie has won many awards, starting with the Academy Award for the Best Visual Effect, the Empire Award for Best Director, and Best Film. It was truly a mind-boggling movie experiences. Copper and his daughter Morphy lives in a world being consumed by dust that is almost uninhabitable, and this is perhaps the end. Obviously, we know it's not. Copper's wife seems to have died, and he is left with his two children and his wife father. Copper has loved his family, but it's really Morph and Copper's relationship that shines through. Forrest or Murphy does a good job capturing her character, curiosity, but also her immaturity as a child. She is sarcastic and shy, but also resilient, and she makes her character quite relatable and lovely. I thought she did appear a little older than she was supposed to be in several scenes, but she would win me over again with a pout or smile. The production was cinematic and beautiful. It had all the beautiful and quiet, scary space shot Jewel could never ever want. The music built and assumed tensions assembly. Thing of my favorite elements was the use of the silence. How often you have a scene which compromises a silence of a new momentum. Interstellar used to silence to its advantage several times. Although I may have ruined it once by cursing, and I think Christopher Nolan's grasp of tension and his vision for the films aimed through. The story was complete with many people. Peaks with veiling, some of them rather unexpected. And I said earlier that I theatered several times because what happened was too horrible not to. The weakest part to Interstellar was the ending, and yet Interstellar is still an impressive at times movie that overwhelmed me to the point where my usual objection to Nolan's work battled away. I have packed the first paragraph of this review that with those observations they could apply to any Nolan's picture post Batman being in. He is who he is so that people know that he was still doing the thing that Nolan always does. Whether you find those things endearing or irritating will depend on your efficiency of Nolan's style. In any case, there is something pure and powerful about this movie. I can't recall a science fiction film Heart sold to director's fans as multiplex, awesome in which so many major character wept openly in close-up. Voices breaking, tears streaming down their cheek. Widows, Ashton Cooper and his colleague. They are separated from everything that defines them. Their loved ones, their personal histories, their culture, the planet itself. Other characters including Emilia's father and astrophysicist is played by Michael Caine, and a space explorer played by an unbilled guest actor, who's holed up on a forbidding archaic world, express our vulnerability to loneliness and doubt that's quite few for this character actor. The film's central family, added by Cooper, grounded after the demonstrating of NASA, lies on a corn farm, of our goodness sake, like the gentle lawns in Field of Dream. A film whose deadly issue, legend story, synced up nicely within the narrative of Interstellar, granted they are growing up to feed the human race which is whiling away its dwelling hour on a planet so ecologically devastated that it at first you mistake it for the American dust to a bowl circa 1930 or so. But there is still something amusingly tricky about the notion of corn as sustenance, especially in a survival story in which the future of humanity is at stake. Alan, Humanity at Stake, plays one of many witnesses in a documentary, first glimpse in the movie opening scene, and which in classic Nolan style is a setup for at least two twists. The state-of-the-art sci-fi landscape are deployed in the service of the hallmark card homilies about how people should live, and what's really important, will have people who have died. But is the social utility is that accident is that the first step is evolution. After a certain point it sinks in, or should sink in, that Nolan and his co-screenwriter, brother, are not trying to hunt the specular relationship of 2001. The movie's science fiction trapping are just a wrapping for a spiritual emotional dream about basic human desire for home, for family, for continuity, as well as a horror film of sorts. One that treats the star Voyager and a earthbound loved one's separation or speculative metaphor for what happens when the people we value are taken from us by that illness or unbreakable distance. Pray you never lean just a new good. It can be to see another face. Another says after a year alone in the interstellar wilderness. While Interstellar never entirely commit to the idea of non-rational, uncanny world, it nevertheless has a mystical strain, one that's unusually pronounced for a director whose storytelling has the right brained sensibility of an engineer, logician, or accountant. There is a ghost in the film, writing out message to the living in dust. Characters trained to interrupt distant ratio message as if they were ancient texts written in a dead language and stars through red rimmed eyes at video message sent years ago by people on the other side of the cosmos. Interstellar features a family haunted by the memory of a dead mother and then an absent father, a woman haunted by the memory of the missing father, and other woman who separated from her own dad and driven to reunite with a lover separated from her so many millions of miles that he might as well as he did, with the possible exception of the last act of Memento and the bite sequences in The Dark Knight Rises, a knife twisting hour that was all about suffering and transcendence. I can't think of a Nolan film that let us on mystery and volunteers gut feeling where the way it does. Not from start to the finish anyway. The most stirring sequences are less about driving the plot forward than contemplating what the character action mean to them, and so on. The best of these the lived off sequences. We starts with the countdown here our images of Cooper leaving his family. It continues in space with Ken reading passage for Dayland, Thomas Wildnet, do not go, gentle into the good night, old age should burn, and rave at close of their rage, engage in drawing out the light. If it wasn't already obvious, this sequence certifies Nolan as the most dead and control obsessed major. The film's wider screen pronomes feature harsh interplanetary landscape shot in equal art local. Some of the largest and most detailed starship main shares evil built, and space sequences presented in scientifically accurate silence 2001. But for all its high tech leads, Interstellar has a definitely old movie feeling. It's not afraid to switch, even learn between the modes. At times, the movie won't stop house shopping, storytelling, evoked and a tender spirit of John Ford picture or a Steven Spielberg film made in the spirit of a Ford picture. A movie that would let rather try to eight or nine things than just one. Bruising outer space action sequences with astronauts tumbling into zero gravity and speeding across the forbidding landscapes give away to snappy comic portrayal between the copper and the ship's robot. Tours designed in the Minecraft style pixels, each boxes and voiced by Bill Levin. There are box explanatory trial erase board, dazzling vistas that are less spaces than mind. Spaces and tearful separation and reconciliation that might as well be played silent in tinted black and white and scored with a salon piano. Originated Interstellar in 2006 but dropped out to be that other project. MC a super intense actor who wholeheartedly commits to the every line and moment he is given. In the light leading man for this kind of film, Cooper proudly identifies himself as an engineer as well as an astronaut and farmer, but he has the soul of good ball. Poet when he's here at Intelgetic visits, he grins like a kid at an amusement park, waiting to ride a new roller coaster. Copper's farewell to his daughter Morph, who's played by the MC Canese for as a young girl, is shot very close in and hit in a warm, cladding tones, and has some of the tenderness of the porch swing sends into killer mocking when Morph grows up into a Jessica Chastain, a key member of Sans NASA, given a sure grade for the daughter. Then the elder brand lost to the mission. We keep thinking about the goodbye scene and how it encourages drives everything that Morph and Cooper are trying to do, while also realizing that similar feeling drive the other characters indeed the rest of the expresses. One suspect this is a deeply personal film for Nolan. It's about a man who feels he's in about called to a particular job and whose work requires him to spend long period away from its family. The movie's storytelling masterstroke comes from adherence to principle of relativity. The astronauts perceive the F differently depending on where entrance is, which means the one go down into a prospective habitable world. A few minutes there equal weeks or months back on the ship. Meanwhile, on Earth, everyone is aging and losing hope. Under such circumstances, even tedious housekeeping type exchange become momentous. One has to be think twice before arguing about what to do next, because while the argument is happening, people elsewhere are going grave or suffering depression from being alone or withering and dying. Here more so than in any other Nolan film, and they're seeing a plot. Time is the everything. I am an old psychist, Brent tells in the film. I am afraid of time. Time is something we are fear. There is a ticking clock governing every aspect of existence, from the global to the family. Every act by every character in an act of defense, born of a wish do not do gently. Fortunately for the star, Annie Hathaway's Christopher Nolan movies are among her most financially successful and critically acclaimed projects. Hathaway first worked with Nolan in 2012, playing Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises. That blockbusters earned over $1 billion at the box office and a superb 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, cementing Hathaway status as one of the world's biggest stars. The same year saw Hathaway win Best Supporting Actress for Less Miserable 4 years after her nomination for Best Actress in 2008, Rachel's Getting Married. Interstellar gave Hathaway the third biggest financial success of her career when the movie made $730 million upon release. 2 years later, Hathaway and Nolan collaborated for a second time on the sci-fi drama. Interstellar gave her the third biggest financial success for her career when the movie made $730 million upon release. Although 2010 Alice in Wonderland did make more at the box office, matching the $1 billion payday of Dark Knight. Rises' critical reception was far less favorable than that of the Nolan's two collaborations. As such, Nolan's mysterious new movie casting is exciting news for the actor's future. Fortunately, Anne is recognized began before Nolan's cast her in his latest project. Director Michael, The Idea of You, adapted it from Robin Lee's novel of the same name, reintroduced viewer to charms as a rom-com lead and the positive viewer. Upcoming project of Flowerville Street Outstanding Event. MC Georgia will be the first effort from it follows director David Robert Mitchell since 2018. This undergoing movie was already generating buzz before Nolan's casting announcement and 2012's WeWork drama miniseries We Crashed New singled out of praise as WeWork's Rebecca Newman. The upcoming Princess Diaries 3 rounds out career comeback nicely, harkening back to her beginning as a Disney star. Long before she played Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises, first came to prominence in this coming of age comedy, releases in 2001. The Princess Diaries started as a geeky, awkward teenage girl who learned she was an unlikely heir to be European kingdom from her endlessly patient grandmother. Julie Andrew Carles's Alto Ella Enchanted and the Princess Diaries too. The royal engagement struggled to recapture the original movie's charm. Princess Diaries 3 could be the nostalgic treat for her long-term fans. That said, Nolan's new movie is even more exciting than Princess Diaries 3, and his upcoming Christopher Nolan movie could be her digest biggest hit yet. Judging by the success of the director's star studied 2023 effort Oppenheimer, that historical biopic managed to make over a billion at the box office despite facing competition from Barbie, the biggest movie of the year, considering the star power that Nolan has already assembled for his new movie. This project could soon become hot race biggest project in over a decade. In this case, Nolan's movies could not at a better time. The idea of you brought her back to the prominence, while the upcoming Flowers Well study proves that a few high-profile flops have not stopped her from pursuing risky, interesting project. The Princess Diaries 3 could be a perfect reminder of her oldest franchise's enduring appeal and the chance for Hathaway to flex her comedic musical again. The best Interstellar covers not only some of the theme of movie but are generally broad provoking lines. Josh Cooper and his daughter Morph are only two of the highly intelligent characters that make up the core cast of the movie, with scientists, astronauts, and advanced robot as the main character. Interstellar is bursting with smart dialogue about scientific and philosophical concepts. As a black hole and a wormhole in space feature prominently in the movie's plot. There's a lot of theatrical sense being mentioned in the dialogue throughout Interstellar. However, the best quote after deep insight into the minds of the Interstellar's main character. Many of the core relationships in the film change drastically as the story progresses and several trusted characters are exposed as liars, with certain quotes taking on a different meaning once their lives have been discovered. Discarding some of the most memorable interstellar quotes can therefore uncover some hidden detail within the film. When Cooper and the others arrive on Dr. Mann's planet, they also make another startling discovery that Professor Band had it about that truth dimension and that there was no plan for the rest of humanity to escape Earth. Ben confirmed this by revealing Brand solved these equations years ago, but lacked the knowledge from within the black hole to give them the answer they needed. Men suggest that the black hole simply represents one of those aspects of life that are meant to be remain a mystery. But this is an idea that might sound logical when he says it. It is not the viewpoint that the movie takes. Interstellar is a celebration of exploration. So the idea that there are some things that cannot be known is not an idea Copper is willing to accept, and indeed he does find those answers. While Professor Brand is shown to be filled with guilt over misleading Cooper and the entire human race with his proposed rescue mission, man is emotionless and disoriented in his view on the matter. He explained in the Copper and the others as it was a logical step to take. While it cements his more than the movie's villain, he also makes some interesting point about the nature of humanity. When Amelia questions why they had to die and continue to have society working towards survival plan that was never going to happen, man suggests that manipulating the population was the only way to ensure they worked together for a common goal, knowing that their action would only benefit generation of humanity that they would never see. Men suggested people just would not care enough to help ensure humanity lived on. When Cooper is rescued from the black hole, he is introduced to the new existence of the human race, having taken the information he sent to Morph and used it to save the population. Cooper is welcomed to new life within a replication of his old one. He finds that he and his family lived on his being recreated on this colony. While it is nice gesture to the man who helped save everyone, Copper is not one of the nostalgia. He maintains the perspective he has had throughout the entire movie, championing the idea of the exploration rather than the complacency. He is not interested in the reviving the life he and past. He now finds himself in a future he never could have dreamed of, and he wants to explore that. Joseph Cooper's relationship with his daughter, Morphe, forms the foundation of what Interstellar is all about, and the ways in which they inspire each other to do good things begin and ends with Morphe's trusting nature toward her father. The knowledge passed between the parent and child in a movie cuts both ways, which is Interstellar quite shows as Morph remind Copper of something that he once taught her. Most interestingly, this happens near the beginning of the film, and foreshadow Morphe began older than her father by the end of the Interstellar due to influence of the black hole, becoming a wise figure who advised him by the end. It is also speaking to the idea of fate in the story, and then Cooper had to venture into the unknown, while Morph had to wait behind. A number of interesting ideas are brought up throughout Interstellar, and not just by characters who work in some kind of scientific field. Even some characters believe and actions are not heroic or even cast in positive light. They are still reasoned by character themselves. The teachers at Copper's local high school, for example, are somewhat villainous and ignorant yet have a logic behind their policies. In this thought-provoking interstellar quote, the school's principal David reminds Copper why farmers have become more important than engineers in their world. There have been a lot of movies about the end of the world, but Nolan approaches Interstellar in a much different way than the usual overly dramatic ideas with the world simply changing, gradually reshaping the priorities of the human race. It becomes purely about survival rather than advancement. Joe Cooper's father-in-law, Donald, provides an interesting counterbalance to Cooper's wide-eyed stargazing. As his Interstellar quote shows, these characters, though not as prominent as many other supporting roles, is an interesting Tudor authority figure throughout the story, such as the seemingly wise Professor Brand, Michael Sane, and the ultimately Venus Doctor Man, whose big words turn out to be little more than lies told to help them in avoiding harsh realities. Donald is an older man with more experience and an only positive outlook on the world as it is. He questions if Copper is right to leave this family behind because he thinks that mission is the right thing to do. However, the foundation Donald speaks of ends up being his children's future, which is reason enough for Cooper to risk taking part in his mission. Many mistakes happen throughout Interstellar story, and many characters feel deep regret over their action and how things turn out. Yet, in keeping with the idea of fate, all of these accidents lead to the mission being a success. Humanity not only survives but changes into something potentially greater. While there was no way of knowing if that was how things would unfold when they started the mission. One member of the crew simply saw the potential in every misstep. Dr. Amelia Brandt Annie reminded the audiences of the scientific principle behind this as is explained why the presence of a black hole has prevented certain worlds near it from being habitable for human. With all sudden events like asteroid that would have been stuck into the black hole, the planet have not had the same kind of transformative events as Earth. Throughout he ultimately revealed to the one of the most villain characters from Christopher Nolan's movies. Dr. Mann is fittingly convincing as a hopeful and selfless astronaut until he shows his true color. Even knowing the planet he was on was inhabitable, man sent for the rest of the team will specify that simply because he did not want to die alone on his planet. This interstellar squid comes as he explained to Cooper why robots were not sent on the movie's perilous colonization mission. He says that their lack of a fear of death prevent them from performing well in situations that requires improvement. Similar to Brand's observation about accident and evolution, it reminds the audiences that struggle in extraordinary circumstances provoke extraordinary act, which makes it a very inspiring quote that's given by a very villainous character. Drama is all about stake, and the stake led by Dr. Amelia Brandt in this entrance era, quite are about as high as they get. When trying to decide which planet they should venture to next, Cooper suggests subjectively that man's proposed planet offered the best chance, while Brand wants to go to Edmund's planet because she is loved by the astronaut who is already there. While it might seem like a selfish decision, Brand reminds Cooper that if man's planet does not work out, they will only have enough fuel to either venture to Ant-Man's planet or go home, but not both. Choosing between their own family and the survival of the species is the most difficult decision a person could be expected to make, and gravity of the movie's premise and its character mission really is set up in this quote. It is also a reminder that despite the rational thinking necessary for the mission, these people ultimately must follow their heart. Cooper is presented with an impossible choice and chooses to attempt to save his children's future at the risk of never seeing them again. However, while he ultimately makes that choices, Interstellar keeps his decision at the forefront of Cooper's journey in this movie. Every moment in his space he is taking away time with his children, and every misstep causes him seeing them again. However, the real emotional blow comes when Cooper's learn he was never going to save their future. After months they tell the truth behind the mission. Amelia confronts Cooper and asks what she can do to help. Immediately, he is one brought out is to return to his home. It's a powerful human moment within the sci-fi story, as Cooper is ready to return to his doomed planet too long as he can face its end with his children. Christopher Nolan's movies are sometimes criticized as being emotionless, but the filmmaker managed to infuse this grand space epic. The essence of every Christopher Nolan movie can be summed up by a ticking color. From the reverse storytelling in the Memento to the term inversion in Tenet, Interstellar is no different. Its destruction of the theatrical astrophysics has made it one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. But in terms of storytelling and the scientific aspect it portrays, featuring a dystopian future, wormhole, and the fifth dimension, It makes sense that the ending of the Interstellar can seem a tad confusing. The ambitious plot is driven by the simple idea that both hardcore science and close relationship are needed to address basic human desire, and the ending emphasizes those themes. There is a crop light on Earth in 2067, which has led to the shortage of food and other resources. The film introduces Jess Cooper, a widower, a former NASA pilot, and currently an average farmer. He lives with his teenage son, Tom, 10-year-old daughter, Morph, and his father-in-law, Donald. When he discovered a pattern on his bedroom floor after a massive dust storm, Cooper believes that gravity variation caused it. After some calculations, he realizes it represents graphical coordinate in binary code. He follows these to the secret NASA facility, which is led by Professor Johan Brand. Brand informs Cooper that around 48 years ago, a mysterious wormhole was identified near Saturn, opening a pathway to the other side, which has 12 potentially habitable planets orbiting a black hole called. Volunteers have traveled to the distant galaxy to investigate entry of these planets seem promising. Brand present to a plan that can secure humanity survival. Plan involves solving an equation of the anti-gravitational population, which would enable NASA to create large space station that can transport human settlement to other space. On the other hand, Plan B is launched to the spacecraft and runs with a 5,000 frozen fertilized egg to establish a colony on another planet. He asked Cooper to complete the mission and lead a team that includes Dr. Amelia Brand, Romilly, and Doyle. Cooper agrees and before he leaves, gives his daughter a watch to keep a track of time till he returns. Unfortunately, after visiting the first two prospective planned, the endurance crew learn that they are unable to sustain human life. Both Doyle and Romilly died during the mission, plus a time dilation due to the proximity. The guarantor caused 23 years to pass on Earth since the mission started. To make matters worse, Morph, who is a NASA scientist, learns from a dying brain that he had lied about solving the gravity equation, as only information from inside the black hole can help achieve that. Cooper and Dr. Brand only realizes this after Morph sends a message to Endurance. There is not enough fuel for Endurance to return to Earth. The looming black hole poses a threat to the remaining member. Cooper decided to detach TORS and a robot to shed some weight and also collect the quantum data needed from inside the singularity. Cooper also sacrifices himself to increase Dr. Brand odds of reaching the last possible habitable planet to restart the human race with the Emperor's data on board. As he uses a single shot movie around to proper to spacecraft to the final planet. He detached himself and perhaps prepared to be drifted off into the black hole. Once he passes through the event horizon, he enters a test code, which is a construct that gives him access to fifth dimension. This is where every moment in the exists at once. For Cooper, it is physically represented by Morph's bookshelf, through which he can see her childhood bedroom. When he sees the young Morph, he desperately tries to send her a message to stop his past self from going by sending the message as the AY in Morse code. He thinks this will somehow reunite him with his family, and he would not lose all the years gone by. However, as soon in the beginning of the film, Morphin received his message, but she is unsuccessful in getting him to stay. This proves that Copper cannot go backward to alter the past, plus time is not linear here. Toss deduces that they have been brought here because they were protected by a team, the Bullock beings that are referenced throughout the movie. It is this future civilization that plays the wormhole, allowing the travel to the other planet in the first place. It is they who built the test act as a laboratory of Cooper's understanding. However, despite their ability to travel through infinite time and space, they cannot communicate through dimension or pinpoint instincts in time. This is where Copper's human limitations become useful. He can cannot to specific moment as he is bound to another human being from another dimension. Thus he can use gravity to send a message to Murph at the right point in time. This help Cooper realizes that they are actually as advanced human beings who have evolved past all dimension. He uses this to communicate the coordinate to the NASA base in the binary code. These turn out to be the same anomalies he had witnessed earlier in the movie, which ultimately sent him on a mission to get the quantum data. He then asked Thor for the quantum data it had extracted from the black hole, which he then relayed to Murph in the form of Morse code on the same watch he had given her. When Thor questioned him why he is sure that she will be able to make the connection at any point, he quotes what Dr. Brand had explained before. Love is the only thing that can transcend all dimensions, including space and time. It is this that leads him to believe that she will visit her childhood home to find a watch to give her. As soon as he completes his purpose, Copper is ejected from the desert and wakes up some time later on Copper Station, which is orbiting Saturn. It is there that he finds a now aged Morph on her deathbed. Due to the time slippage, around 51 years have passed for those on Earth, while it has only been a few hours of Cooper. It turns out that Morph was successful in solving the gravity equation, which allowed the launch of space station into space to build colonies. The meaning of Interstellar lies somewhere between science and sentiment. It is a story of a father and daughter, as well as of humanity coming to terms with its own extinction. It also explored the inevitable result of climate change, which would make the Earth uninhabitable in the distant future. The film encourages the audiences to think about how human connection go beyond just immediate families. The future species need to save too. The 2014 sci-fi drama, which is now streaming on Netflix, featured a stacked cast sharing and Annie Hathaway, with additional performance from Matt. Following Josh Cooper, MC, a former NASA test pilot, the film takes place on Earth in 2067. By this time, humans anticipate extinction due to famine, blight, and increasingly unbreathable air. After Coop and his daughter, Morphe, Morph Cooper noticed a strange pattern in the parties swirling through the air. They discover a secret facility run by NASA scientist Dr. Johan Brand. Their brand requires Coop to pilot a spaceship in pursuit of another habitable planet, which involves getting him and his daughter, Amelia Brand, to pass through a wormhole near Saturn. In a decision that becomes central to the film, Hope goes on the mission, hoping to save the future of human race, especially the lives of his children. However, going on the trip means he has to leave them behind, and while he promised to return, Morphe is devastated. The rest of the following follows Cobb and Amelia as they make their way through space. It also traces Morph's life as she grows into an influential scientist in navigating trying on Earth. Thus, Cooper find the wormhole and save the human race. Thus, he make it back to his children. After Coop and Amelia leave Earth, Morph becomes a scientist and helps Dr. Brand with his gravity manipulation equation. As an adult, she is still devoted to solving it so that she can reunite with her dad. However, Dr. Brand ages considerably, and before he dies, he confessed to Murph that his equation was a force designed to give humans a sense of hope, and it was never meant to work or being her father Hinnom. Not only is Morph devastated by his news, but she feels betrayed and wonders if Keep no, he did not. Despite the letdown, Morph continues their work, determined to save the future of humanity and to see her father again. Meanwhile, Cope nearly dies in outer space when Dr. Mann tries to kill him but is saved by Amelia. After visiting to unbeatable planet, Cope, Amelia, and other reboot colleague Charles Lee Hathaway third and final planet to try again. Making Jeve around the third planet, go fast into a black hole, which allow him to stand in NASA side, coordinate to his past self and subsequently. Murph would not avoid the new information, but solve the gravity manipulation problem that has been plaguing the team, allowing the human species to resist extinction and survive. At the beginning to the film, Maud believes he has a ghost who visits her bedroom, rattling the bookshelf that line her wall. In fact, Murphy is the character who, throughout the entire film, maintains faith in the idea that there are life forces beyond that which human can explain. Murphy is not afraid of her ghost. Instead, she is positive that is sending her message. Nearing the end of the film, Go propels the spaceship toward a third planet, and along with the team's robot Dars, Agri sacrifices himself, reducing the weight of the spacecraft to Amelia can reach the third planet. When doing so, Copper falls into a black hole that allows him to travel through time and space. In the four-dimensional hole, he realizes that he can use falling dust again to send in NASA side coordinate to his past self. Kickstarting the mission, he is gone. When the help of Tars, Cope transmit information from space by manipulating the hands of Morph's wristwatch, which sits on the bookshelf. A new adult Morph finds her watch and is able to solve the equation, and that allows the human race to accept extinction. As it turns out, Morph's ghost was her father all along. Despite Morph's early feelings of betrayal, when her father left Earth and her later facing even more devastation when Dr. Brand revealed that her dad and his crew were never meant to return, she and Copper unite. When Cooper finally returned to Earth, he quickly makes his way to this hospital to see Morph. She is an elder woman at this point. The film's sense of pressure stems from Coop ending up on planets where each hour is equal to 7 years on Earth, meaning Morph has aged far more rapidly than him. The hospital is located on Cooper Station, a space station named after his daughter, as she saved humanity by using data communicated to her from her father. Morph has not only led a successful life in science but also overcame the adversity of losing her father to space. In the process, she used to be knowledge he gained from his travel to create her own legacy. Because time passes much more quickly on Earth than on the planet. Cooper was visiting. Morph is now the wise elder, while her dad remains in midlife. She urged him not to be wait for her to die but to leave her and find Amelia. Central to the film is the journey of Josh Cooper, portrayed by the Matthew MC, a former turned astronaut tasked with an immense responsibility to find a new home for humanity as a teacher on the brink of an illogical catastrophe. The film is both in its scale and ambitious, and whilst you will be hard pressed to find critics for the movie, the ending still has some people stretching their heads, prompted by the mysterious guidance of what Morphe, Cooper's daughter, refers to as her ghost. Cooper teams up with a team including Annie, Hathaway's character, Brand, and of course, the obligatory turn from Michael's Scanny. Cooper and the gang miners traverse the cosmos, propelled through a wormhole near Saturn and across the unfathomable expanse of space-time, only to confront the inescapable pull of a supermassive black hole named Gargantua. Cooper sacrifices descending into the Gargantua's gravitational singularity precipitates the film's climatic and emotionally charged elevation. Rather than meeting a grisland, Cooper finds himself in a test court, a multi-dimensional space that initially thought to be created by alien but is actually the construct of our future. Humans so evolutionarily advanced that they can bind time to their will. Inside this intricately woven tapestry of time and space, Cooper faces a pivotal moment in his daughter Marv's life. It dawns on him that these highly advanced future humans selected him as the medium to communicate the quantum data from within the black hole. Data that is paramount to the survival of the species. In the past, Cooper leans him to things that humans have been the aliens all along, and this is the daughter's ghost, was him in the desert, interacting with her despite being separated by time and space, and interwoven throughout this narrative and scientific complexity is this resonating theme of love as an all-conquering, transcendent force in the universe, capable of shaping things at other corners of the cosmos. It is love, specifically Copper's love for his daughter, that becomes the beacon guiding him through the labyrinth of the desert to convey the essential information that will save humanity. This life-saving information enables an adult morph to crack the code of the gravity manipulation, setting the stage for humanity. Great exodus from the dying earth. Ejected from the desert, with self-destruct, hangs out his purpose. Copper is rescued near Saturn and awakened to the drastically new era. The dilation has accelerated the year by decade, and he is reunited with his daughter, now a frail old woman on her deathbed. All Murph reveals she separated humanity's escape, all thanks to the help of the Father. Bought as a ghost and a pilot, Murph's parting with her party father is seek out Hathaway, character who resides on a planet capable of hard-boring life, trying to pioneer a new colony. As Interstellar draws into close, Cooper and the lower robot, Tars commandeer a spaceship setting the course for Brand. The ending underscored by love's victory over the vastness of time and space illuminate the enduring human spirit, our indomitable will to survive, to love, and to continually reach out into the unknown, ever seeking, ever striving for knowledge and understanding in the infinite expanse of this cosmic. There is no doubt about it. Interstellar was one of the most mentally stimulating blockbusters of 2010. As such, a lot of people were confused about that Interstellar's plot, high concept science, and bold ending. It's time for Interstellar Explained, a deep dive in which we answer some of the biggest questions audiences ask about the film. By the end, you will know the plot and meaning like the back of your mind. You might even say you will have an interstellar explanation for the fourth dimension. Interstellar is about Earth's last chance to find a habitable planet before a lack of resources caused the human race to extinct. The film's protagonist is a Copper Mato, a former NASA pilot who is tasked with leading a mission through a wormhole to find a habitable planet in the other galaxy. Dr. Brand explains the Copper that NASA previously sent another group to find a habitable planet, but they have gone silent. Plan A involves Copper transmitting quantum data back to Earth in order to develop a gravitational propulsion theory that will allow spacecraft to carry people off Earth into the other galaxy. Plan B involves Cooper's crew finding the remaining laser crew and establishing a colony on another world. We don't know for certain when Interstellar is set, but the script implies that it takes place in the not too distant future. We imported the Interstellar script into the studio Bander's screenwriting software to take a closer look at the film setting. This scene takes place near the beginning of the story and gives us a good hint at how many years in the future Interstellar has set. We can infer by way of deduction reasoning that Interstellar takes place about 40 to 70 years into the future. How? Well, we know that Major League Baseball was still played when Donald was a kid, and we know that when Copper was a kid, things were in a such a state of disarray that no baseball was played. So if we assume that Copper is about 40 and that thing fell apart sometime before he was born, but not for so far before Donald did not live through a period of ceremony, then we can deduce that Interstellar is set between the ages of Donald and Copper, and roughly 40 to 70 years from modern time of 2014. The Endurance crew decided to scout out Maller's planet because it was the one of that had some most recently transmitted data to them. But since the planet is so close to the black hole, time is extremely dilated every hour. On the water planet is equivalent to 7 years on Earth. Copper brain Annie and Doyle land on the surface and attempt to locate Maller's transponder. But just as Brent finds the devices, massive waves rolls in, forcing Tokyo to flee to the coded ship. Duel dash, but Copper and Brand narrowly escape, and Brand realizes that Muller must be dead second before they arrive because of several time dilation. Cooper leaves his family, daughter Maud, Jessica, son Tom, and father-in-law Donald on Earth in order to lead the NASA mission in his absence. His family develops a continuation relationship, but we don't learn about it until Cooper does. 23 years into the future, while watching old transmission, Morph and Tom become foil characters who serve to expose and tribute in each other. Morph becomes a NASA researcher who desperately wants to solve the gravitational theory to save the people on Earth while Tom takes over the family farm and largely rejects science and the reality of his situation. There who two opposing worldview work against each other and expose negative and positive aspect their character. Matt Damon plays the role of Dr. Mann, the search captain of the laser mission after the failure of the water planet mission. Copper is left with a difficult choice. Go to Dr. Indome's planet, Dr. Mann's planet. Let's go back to the script to read through one of the best scenes, the which is Copper has to make the right decision in order to have any type of executing the mission. Copper chooses Man's planet, taking the Endurance on railway trip to Matt Damon town. When the crew arrives, they find Man in the chrysolite. It's pretty much clear from the get-go that something is wrong with Man. Arthur considering the fact that he's been in solitude. Christopher Fourier, it's not hard to say why, but Man has more than just a case of seven fever. He is full-blown bent on finishing the mission, no matter the cost. Back on Earth, Dr. Brand reveals to Marv their plan was a shame, and there is no way the people of Earth could never escape. Marv transmits a message to Coppers accusing him of knowing Plan A was possible, effectively leaving her to die. Copper tells Ma'am, Bran, and Romilly that he is going to return to Earth to be with his children, and the rest of them can stay on Man's planet to start a colony. But Man's planet is not hospitable, and he needs his ship to go to the Androm planet. In this scene, Nolan's interact between the Copper's confrontation with Man and Morph's information with Tom. Morph burns all of these scraps in order to make Tom understand he needs to leave the farm. Romilly is killed by a trap mine. Brand and Copper barely escape back to the Endurance. Brand and Copper escape, but they leave Man behind. Man foolishly attempts to dock in the Endurance. As a result, his Korean ship blows up and destroys key function of the Endurance. Not great, but it's hard to pick hold in a script as sharp as Interstellar. After some impressive piloting, Cooper successfully docks his Korean ship in the Endurance. The interstellar black hole is called Gargantua due to its Gargantuan size. For more on how Nolan and his team made Gargantua with CGI computer generated imagery, check out his awesome video. When Interstellar was released in 2014, there was no recorded image of the black hole, but in 2019, the Event Horizon Telescope took the first image of a black hole. This is what the central black hole of Messier 87, a galaxy in the Virgo cluster, looked like. As it turns out, the scientists and Interstellar were pretty close with the design of the black hole. But what is a black hole? To answer that question, we have to first answer the questions. What is wormhole? And to answer that, let's watch a great analogical sense of the film. A common misconception is that black holes and wormhole are the same thing. But as Romilly David, a wormhole are like funnel that connect two distant points in space-time. Hypothetically, object could safely travel through a wormhole, but consequently, black holes are areas of space-time that have such a strong gravity that nothing can escape. Now, I am not a PhD psychist, and most of the astronomical science in Interstellar is theoretical. I think the interstellar black hole scene is where a lot of people got lost. Up until that point, everything made a good amount of sense. Wormholes allow people to travel long distance through space-time. Differences in gravity and relative velocity cause time dilation. After Cooper successfully communicated the quantum jump, he kicked out of the resurrect. Sometime later, he wakes up on Cooper's station, a space station that orbiting Saturn. There he finds Morph is her deathbed, having saved humanity from extinction with the quantum data. Let's read through our final conversation together. Turn out these anomalies were caused by the Cooper interacting through another dimension, sending himself on a mission to get the quantum data. Don't just take my word for it. For me, on Interstellar ending explained. Most will make things small or medium. Not Christopher Nolan, for whom even bigger won't cut it. His new picture in his biggest event, biggest spectacle, biggest patch, biggest disappointment. It's a colossal science fiction adventure in the high fictionary futures style of Q 2001, but sugared up with the touches of M. Night. Nolan takes on the idealism and yearning from 2001, but leaves behind the supervision, the disquiet and the public's real interest in imagining a post-human future. While in fact, Nolan more is looking back to a sentimental, reinforced present. Interstellar is a muscular, ambitious film with blank per back visual that broadly make up for the moderate acting and genial extracting dialogue. Nolan stars as Matthew, MC, Annie Hathaway, and Michaels Gani, who have not exactly been encouraged to leave their performance comfort zone or divert from their usual acting orbit trajectory. MC cannot be entirely invulnerable to there is a one real emotional cop in Interstellar that has been slightly overlooked in the engrossing hype the movie has triggered so far. A global food crisis has turned America into a coast to coast dust bowl of unproductive emergency farmland. MC plays Cooper, a retired NASA pilot who, like every other adult, has had to turn to the soil. He is widower, living with the two tricky kids, Tom and Murph, and his grumpy father-in-law, Donald. Cooper is furious at the walls drearily, outborn dullness, and at his kids' school teacher had the Apollo moon mission, where a hoax designed to bankrupt the Soviet. He is rightly disgusted at this nonsense. I would have killed a hired more explicit speech attacking it, and incidentally making it clear that space exploration was not worthy for the Soviet enemy, wired sunlight Copper to a top secret research station where his old NASA boss or brand Gani tells his turned ex-employee that Earth is finished. What is a recently discovered wormhole in the space-time continuum looks like to head us to other habitable or planned for experiment. And that Cooper surely has to check rich staff to head an exploration space team right away. Without training or preparation, his crew will include Brand Starter, the Comley, and the Botland, Proftarius Emily, along the Joel, Wes, and Romilly David. They get the regulation white suit, Nexus era tech, long sleep, hibernation's routine, flickery video, message from no home, and standard issue talking about Carl Torres, who is quickly but obedient. Basically, how to D2 wormholes are presented in the film as different from, say, wizards or unicorn. They are supposed to be scientifically real, kind of Nolan has been inspired by the work on the subject by the theatrical seekscape John from Culture, who is not just scientific consultant but executive producer, a credit that may be intended as an extra textual guarantee of authenticity, but inevitably it is wormhole to do traditional narrative work for a warp drive or time machine. Or when thinks of something mathematically brain to do with gravitational pull and fuel consumption, he wrote it on his little spaceship whiteboard and hardware as same formula that's evil work It's all you can do now to smile at our two rocket scientists. Nolan controls against science. Cooper comes out of the hole to find that Trump has slipped forward decade. While he's been away hour and 20 years worth of backed up video message revealed that his little kids have turned, in a blink of an eye, into middle-aged adult, played by Castle Affleck and Jessica, angry and embittered in their own ways by their psychological acuity. Nolan shows that grown-up Tom is permanently trapped in psychological defeat, but all the rest is mannerism and starburst, potencious and unscored by Hans Zimmer's score that draws playful, twisted theme that but relies on heavy, whizzingly religious organ type chord. The appearance of Interstellar is a moment to reflect that Kubrickian sci-fi, like Lucian's social realism of the same 60 period, was once rooted in the real world. Social realisms could change the law, and sci-fi left it and even inspired world in which the moon really was about to be conquered, and everyone assumed that manned space exploration would continue onward at the same rate. Today, this is a lot futurism. What remains is time, and Nolan has got plenty of that. He gives us more of his signature universe manipulation, in which the ground or sea will turn up 90 degrees like a surreal cliff face, huge rim like and wrong. It's exhilarating, but Interstellar's deep space turned out to be shallower than we expected. She happily paid his price for the rare commodity, a matinee seat for a film that came out a decade ago. In secondary market online, ticket no Christopher Nolan's 2014 space epic had been listed for weeks for as much as $215. After all, 166 IMAX again sold out for the duration of the rare release last weekend. Interstellar pulled in $4.57 million domestically, more than any new movie, and at 27,000, a higher per screen average than top grosser. Mona 2 and Wicked demand is so high, in fact, that IMAX is expanding theater con for next weekend. The accomplishment is the latest example of low legacy films have swung back in fashion at the cinema as studios look to leverage that their library titles and exploitative phase a post-pandemic, post-crack Hollywood that fewer tentpole movies per year, separate from small reportedly runs in the boutique theater, often compromising just one or two, showing at least 70 legacy films were re-released in 2024 into more than 100 domestic theater, in many cases, more than 1,000, grossing more than $90 million in total. Chief among them, like a 2009 stop-motion animated film, Coraline, which grossed a stunning $33 million domestically when it was put back into theater in August through Fathom event, a joint venture of AMC, Regal and Cinemark. Fathom has specialized in targeted, reportedly released since 2005. Coraline is top grosser ever, caps a winning streak for the company, which took in $74 million from its 2024 legacy releases in total, and increasing up 311% from 2022. It's very good business, says Fathom CEO. As the catalyst for the renewed audience's interest in revivals, it reunited people with the movie theater that had been stuck in their house for a year. He says we want more than we see it. We want eyeballs on the screen. It's just good for the whole industry. This year's, however, love's been different. The week after Coraline opened to $12.7 million, Nutt was meeting within various studio executive, and he says they kept asking their reportedly department heads, why are not we doing that with our films? It's a good question. If studios can just for off library, title for a bag of cash every few months, why are not there and more releases? It's harder than it looks to drive an audiences, says one distribution head. A big title alone might not be enough to buy seats, and while digital points are a nominal cost, bringing back a lead title in 70 million or 35 mm means sourcing print and projector and sometimes hiring projections, putting even to greater pressure on marketing to deliver awareness. On that front, anniversaries are the easiest built-in marketing tool. Studios can use a theatrical release to promote a special Blu-ray edition, and then we will join forces to promote it together. Nut says, a new edition in a franchise can also be a good excuse for a release in 2009. Avatar grossed $24.7 million 3 months before the debut of Avatar, The Way of Water, and A24 has built hype for its new releases by leveraging its monthly IMAX screening series as a promotional tool. Like when the studio launched a redux of X-Men ahead of director Alex Garland 2024 blockbuster Civil War. Even more crucial, however, is giving audiences a reason to make the journey to theater beyond just the chance to see the film. Whether releasing the Interstellar just in IMAX, demonstrating Coraline in 3D, or adapting the Lord of the Rings trilogy to recast taking 4DX technology. All of our content has added value to it. Nut says you are going to get something that's a little bit extra than just watching on TV at home. However, the record setting releases of Coraline, which made $75 million domestically in its original run, required a sustained effort over several years. Like our marketing chief David Burke says that after he joined the company in 2019, he and his team started unearthing an organic fandom for the films regulating our social media. It did not immediately present itself as like people want to say this is on the big screen. He says instead the studio internationally content specifically for TikTok and hosting special exhibition of the artwork from the film. We began to gather around the idea that there was a demand, particularly from fans who may have discovered it on home media. Boxes partnering with Vetum. A small Coraline releases in 2012 grossed $805 million over one day. The following year, another release earned $7.1 million over 4 days. Doris is, in other words, was there, and Wildberg declined to cite a specific number. He says the studio's marketing cost to marshal the title's much larger releases here, including the national distribution through releasing that took in an additional $18.7 million wasn't the low sound figure. A 24 encountered a similar effect in 2023 when releasing the Talking Head concerned film stopped making sense. The Andy Studio advertised the experience, partnering with the IMAX, bringing the film to the Toronto Film Festival, putting together a tribute album, and even briefly uniting the band. The film collecting more than the $8 million domestically in 2023, erasing its original box office run, according to A24, 60% of the audiences were not born when stopped making sense. First debuted in 1984, and 75% were seeing its theater for the first time. It does not take a rocket scientist to figure out that there is a demand for this film throughout the calendar, says exhibitor relation analyst of Jeff Baker. While 2025 release calendar has recovered from its strike-induced decline, there are still some weekends that could use a boost. He says that, and in January, IMAX will put Sound back in theater for its 20th anniversary, while Fathom is releasing The Good News for its 40th. We just want to see films outside of the home box says that is the future bloodline of the industry. Christopher Nolan's Interstellar about astronauts traveling to the other end of the galaxy to find a new home to replace humanity's despoiled home world is frantically busy and loud. It uses booming music to jack up the excitement level of songs that might not otherwise excite.